From there and came to his hometown, and his disciples followed him. And on the Sabbath, he began to teach in the synagogue. And many who heard him were astonished, saying, "Where does this man get these things? What is the wisdom given to him? And how are such mighty works done by his hands? Isn't this the carpenter, the son of Mary, and the brother of James and Joseph and Judas and Simon? And aren't his sisters here with us?" And they took offense at him. And Jesus said to them, "A prophet is not without honor, except in his hometown and among his relatives and in his own household." And he could do no mighty work among them, except that he laid his hands on a few sick people and healed them. And he marveled at their unbelief. And he went about among the villages teaching. Now he called the 12 and began to send them out 2 by 2. And he gave them authority over the unclean spirits. He charged them to take nothing for their journey except a staff. No bread, no bag, no money in their belts, but to wear sandals and not put on 2 tunics. He said, "When you come to a house, stay there until you depart from there. And if any place will not receive you and they will not listen to you, shake off the dust that is on your feet as a testimony against them." And so they went out and proclaimed that people should repent. And they cast out demons and anointed with oil many who were sick, and they healed them. The apostles returned to Jesus and told him all that they had done and taught. And Jesus said to them, "Come away by yourselves to a desolate place and rest a while, for many were coming and going, and they had no leisure, even to eat." So they got in the boat, and they went away to a desolate place by themselves. Now many saw them going and recognized them, and they ran on foot from all the towns, and they got there ahead of them. And when he came out of the boat, he saw a great crowd, and he had compassion on them, for they were like sheep without a shepherd. So he began to teach them many things. And when it grew late, his disciples came to him and said, "This is a desolate place, and the hour is now late. Send them away to the surrounding villages and countryside so that they can buy themselves something to eat." But he said to them, "You give them something to eat." And they said, "Shall we go and buy 200 denarii of bread and give it to them to eat?" And he said, "How many loaves do you have? Go and see." And when they found out, they said, 5 and 2 fish. And so he commanded them to sit down in groups on the green grass. And so they sat down in groups by hundreds and by 50s. And taking the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, he looked up to heaven and he said a blessing. And he broke the loaves and gave them to his disciples to set before the people. And he divided the 2 fish among them all. And they all ate and were satisfied. And they took up 12 baskets full of the broken pieces and of the fish. And those who ate the loaves were 5,000 men. Immediately, he made his disciples get in the boat and go ahead of him to the other side, to Bethsaida, while he dismissed the crowd. And after he had taken leave of them, he went up on the mountain to pray. Now, when evening came, the boat was out on the sea, and he was alone on the land. And about the fourth watch of the night, he came to them, walking on the sea. He meant to pass by them. But when they saw him walking on the sea, they thought it was a ghost. And they cried out, for they all saw him and were terrified. But Jesus said to them, "Take heart, it is I, do not be afraid." And then he got in a boat with them, and the wind ceased. And they were utterly astounded, for they did not understand about the loaves, but their hearts were hardened. And when they crossed over, they came to land at Gennesaret and moored to the shore. And when they got out of the boat, the people immediately recognized him, and they ran about the whole region and began to bring the sick in their beds to wherever they heard he was. And wherever he came, in the villages, in the cities or countryside, they laid the sick in the marketplaces and implored him that they might touch even the fringe of his garment. And as many as touched it were made well. Mark 6, verses 1 through 13 and 30 to 56. The word of the Lord.
Praise be to God.